Okay, today's lesson is about the workplace competencies. Get this screen going here. Okay, here we go. Okay, so I want you to start a new section in your notebook, and it should be called Workplace Competencies. And then I want you to put in quotations, capability. So to me, competencies are like you're capable of doing something. You have the capability of completing something. You're well qualified. I think the definition that I looked up, it said competency is something you're well qualified to do. So that kind of goes with me feeling like capability, like you're capable of doing something. So this is another thing that employers want. Once you have the foundation skills necessary for job success, the next step is to develop more specific workplace competencies. The 5 competencies listed below apply to most occupations found in America. So the first one, and it looks like I got cut off a little bit here, allocating resources. So the way you spell it is ALLOCATING, resources. And it says that work requires the investment of resources such as time, money, materials, space, and people. And we talked about resources before in another chapter. So what I want you to write down on your notes is allocating resources. And then next to allocating resources, I want you to put time, money, materials, space, and people. And it also says here in the book, because limited amounts of these resources exist, you have to make decisions regarding the best way to use them. So if you're in charge of the money, you've got to figure out the best way to use the money at your company. Okay, so that's a resource. And people too. Like you may have to shift people around because maybe one group or one section is busier than another section, and you may have to shift people around in your company. Okay, the next one I want you to write down is using information. So it says today with so much information available, the challenge is to acquire information when you need it, to organize, to evaluate and interpret it, and to communicate it to others. So I want you to write down using information, and then I want you to write down next to that organize, to organize, evaluate, interpret, and communicate it to others. Okay, so the next section I need you to write down is using interpersonal skills. And these, yes, like it says here, they're kind of like the people skills. I think it's supposed to say essential instead of central. They're essential to your success in the workplace. Workers are expected to work in teams, teach others, and serve customers. Successful workers are sensitive to people from different backgrounds and experiences. Employers especially want employees who can assume leadership roles or follow the directions of others. So what I want you to write down in this section, just write down using interpersonal skills, and then put down work in teams, teach others, and serve customers. And then I also think that you should put down the word leadership, and then follow direction should go on that one as well. Okay, understanding systems. It says systems are orderly, orderly ways of doing things. Systems include procedures and equipment used at work. Workers are expected to understand the correct problems using systems such as network computers or complex machinery. Some workers improve and design systems. Systems have interconnected parts so that a change in one part can affect other parts of the system. People use systems in their personal lives too. So for this, understanding systems, we use a lot of systems. You've actually used a lot of systems at school. So one of the systems that you use for your schoolwork would be Canvas. So write that down. And then PowerSchool is another one that you use as a grading system. Google is another one. like Google Docs, Slideshow, Google Meets, Google Calendar, Google Drive, but just put down Google System. And the new one that you're using this year is Edmentum. You're getting to know that network. Chromebook, you're familiar with Chromebook, obviously. And then Apple systems as well, because you had that during elementary school. So different systems we use here at school are like our grading system. We have a transportation system. We have a scheduling system. That's how you guys get your schedules. Disciplinary system. Our food services has a system. So lots of systems in place. And we will be using some of these on your resume. Okay, the next part, this is number 1, using technology. To be most productive, workers must be able to use and maintain technology in the workplace. Technology changes the size, cost, speed, and usefulness of tools that make our lives easier. With constant changes in technology, people must learn new ways to use technology and to include them in their lives. So what I want you to write down here is just must be able to use and maintain technology. So must be able to use and maintain technology. So the end of this chapter says reaching for success. Most jobs require more competencies than those in the chapter. These additional competencies can be learned on the job or through education after high school. So that's what I'm trying to get you guys to think about. Like, what are you going to do after high school? Is it going to be continued education? Is it going to be college? Is it going to be on the job training? Okay, so it says first, however, you must master the basic foundation skills. So the 5 basic skills, the employability traits and competencies covered in this chapter. I also don't see that they put on the thinking skills here as well, but that's something that you're learning through that continued education. Middle school courses, high school courses, internships, and paid employment provide many opportunities to practice and develop these basic requirements for success in your future. And then there's another section here about manners in the workplace, treating customers and coworkers correctly, always saying thank you, like please and thank you, apologizing, telling someone you're sorry if you make a mistake. Listening intently to the person who is speaking, whether it be a customer or someone that you work with, and then don't cut off others while you're speaking. In an effective conversation, people take turns speaking and listening. Okay, so that takes us to the end of this chapter.